Okay, so start your day, you open your eyes, maybe. Maybe it's still dark out. And before the coffee, before anything, there's this voice already there.
Waiting for you.
Yeah. And it's calm, strangely calm, but cold. And it's delivering a verdict, right? Should have woken up earlier or you're falling behind.
Why can't you get it together? That one's popular. It's like this internal trial kicks off the second you're conscious.
A trial with no jury, just this. Judge. And it feels like it runs on, well, not logic.
No, not evidence or reason. It uses shame. Comparison. That's its language, its currency.
Okay, and here's the really interesting part, the crack in the whole thing we want to explore in this deep dive. That judge, it isn't actually you.
Exactly. Feels like it, but it's not. It's an occupant. A mechanism, maybe. Fundamentally separate.
But we spend so much energy arguing with it, trying to fix ourselves based on what it says.
Right. We try to win the case, or at least get a lighter sense.
Yeah, so today, we stop arguing. We're going to try and map the structure of that voice instead.
That's the plan. We can unpack this using Gestalt ideas. Gestalt as a way of understanding perception, how your consciousness kind of organizes reality.
Okay.
And the basic idea, the organizing principle, is simple. Whatever you perceive is always a figure standing out against a ground.
Figure and ground, like those optical illusion pictures?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
The same principle applies internally.
Yeah.
And this judge, well, he isn't just some psychological quirk. He's the figure currently dominating your whole field of awareness.
Got it. So he's hogging the spotlight.
Completely. So our mission here isn't to somehow silence the judge like he's an enemy. It's to see him as this rigid perceptual structure, a habit of the mind.
And you're saying just seeing it that way,
Yeah.
that can dissolve its power.
Yeah.
Like shifting attention back to the ground.
Back to the broader field, yes. Let's dive into that right away. Section 1. What happens when the judge takes over? It's a kind of perceptual collapse.
Okay.
When the judge is the main figure, everything else just fades, becomes background noise. The ground gets ignored,
Yeah.
unseen, unfelt.
But hang on, sometimes that voice feels useful. Doesn't it sometimes feel like genuine self-reflection? Like accountability. How do you tell the difference?
That's a really crucial question. Accountability, real self-reflection, engages with now. It involves reality, choice, maybe future action. The judge, his goal isn't reflection, it's domination.
Domination.
Yeah. When he's the sole figure, think about what disappears into the ground. It's the actual lived reality of this moment.
Like what?
Your body. The simple feeling of breathing, the warmth of the sun if it's out, the feel of your feet on the floor, just being here without needing to perform or justify, that raw, unjudged version of you gets shoved into the fog.
So the judge doesn't want
He
reflection.
wants you to freeze, to comply. He wants to maintain control by being the only thing you see.
Wow.
Yeah.
That reframes it completely. It's not about whether he's right. His victory is just being the only thing we pay attention to.
Precisely. Our whole field of awareness collapses down to this one single rigid figure. It's a perceptual event. Yes. The living, breathing, sensing ground, the actual field of experience gets pushed out, unfelt, unseen. He wins by distraction, by keeping you focused on him, away from the sheer fact of being alive right now.
Okay, so if it starts as just a thought or a feeling, how does it become this permanent structure, this judge? That's the core mechanism, right? Section 2, birth of destruction.
We call it a frozen gestalt. The judge is essentially born from perception that got stuck, frozen in time, and experience a gestalt that never got to complete its natural cycle.
Frozen gestalt. Okay, explain that cycle.
Think about any natural experience. There's a beginning, sensation, maybe. Then awareness grows, then maybe some kind of expression or action, and finally, resolution, completion. The cycle closes.
Right.
But what happens if that cycle gets interrupted? Usually by something overwhelming, shame, fear, maybe someone outside shutting it down. The experience doesn't just evaporate, it gets stored, locked in structure. It becomes tension, unresolved energy, a kind of perceptual artifact.
An artifact, like a ghost in the machine, a glitch. The brain keeps running.
That's a good way to put it. Think about maybe a child who spills something, shatters a glass.
Okay.
There's the initial shock, the sound, maybe fear, maybe an impulse to hide or fix it. But then the judgment lands hard from outside, maybe careless. Look what you did.
Right. The criticism.
And in that moment, the whole experience, the feeling in the body, the sound, the vulnerability, it collapses. That raw feeling is rejected, pushed away. And what crystallizes, what becomes the fixed figure?
The judgment, I'm careless, I'm a failure.
Exactly. Failure, shame. The experience didn't get processed, integrated. It got stored as self-attack. That's the frozen Gestalt.
So the judge isn't really a person inside us. He's more like a function, a shortcut.
A shortcut, yes.
Yeah.
A mechanism the mind created to manage that stored, unresolved energy without having to actually feel the original vulnerability, the original pain of the interrupted experience.
So he's like a failed attempt at closing the loop, at closure.
A very good way to put it. He feels like he's protecting you, maybe from making the same mistake. But his real function is to keep that old, frozen experience contained by keeping you from feeling too alive, too spontaneous, because that was connected to the original interruption.
Wow. Okay, so that leads into section 3, right? The judge's fuel. If he's this structure, this function, it really does seem like the more we fight him, the stronger he gets. What feeds him?
It's simple, actually. His only fuel is your attention and your identification with him.
Attention and identification.
He's like a perceptual parasite.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about truth, not really. His only goal is to stay locked in as the dominant figure, to keep your eyes on him.
And we feed him the second we argue back or analyze the criticism or even just feel the shame he brings up.
Instantly. You engage the argument, you try to fix the flaw he's pointing out, boom, you've just validated his existence and flooded him with your energy, your attention.
So as long as we're staring at the judge,
You're completely distracted from seeing the rest of the picture, the whole dynamic living field around you.
and you mentioned this isn't just an internal feeling, you said it actually reshapes how we perceive reality.
It can, yeah. Through a Gestalt concept called isomorphism.
Isomorphism.
Yeah, it basically means the structure of your inner experience tends to mirror your perception of the outer world.
How does that work with the judge?
Well, if the judge creates this really rigid, tight, compressed inner structure, your whole sense of reality can start to feel narrow, restricted, even physically claustrophobic.
So that's why intense anxiety can feel like the room is actually shrinking.
It's connected, yes. The internal rigidity mirrors itself onto your perception of space. Time can warp. 2 old failures feel like immediate threats right now. The past isn't past.
And the body becomes like ground zero for the judgment. The world feels like a courtroom.
Exactly. And this explains why just trying to slap on positive affirmations often doesn't work long term.
Right, because you're just replacing one figure with another.
Precisely. You swap "you are not enough" for "you are enough." But you're still fixated on a single controlling figure. The underlying structure, the dominance of the figure over the field, hasn't changed at all.
You're still playing the same game, just trying to use a different piece.
You got it. Real change, real liberation, means changing your relationship to the entire field of awareness,
Yeah.
not just swapping figures.
Okay, so that brings us to section 4. If fighting him feeds him and replacing him doesn't change the underlying dynamic, what's left? How do we actually shift things? It sounds impossible not to answer that voice when it feels so urgent.
The opening move is, well, it's quiet, it's almost subtle. You let him speak, you hear the words, but you simply don't answer.
Don't answer.
Don't engage. The judge literally cannot exist without your attention fueling him.
Yeah.
Your belief in his importance is optional. Your sustained attention is what keeps him alive. The shift begins the moment you choose not to turn towards him and argue or agree or analyze.
That sounds simple, but incredibly hard, because it feels like survival sometimes, listening to him.
It is challenging, because what the judge is really fundamentally afraid of is presence.
Presence.
Yeah, true, embodied, unfiltered presence. Because presence brings back the whole field, the complexity, the nuance, the actual sensory reality that dissolves these fixed, rigid figures. The judge needs abstraction, distance. He needs you in your head, thinking about things, not feeling them.
Okay, so the practice isn't about fighting, it's about relocating your attention.
Relocating, exactly. Gently, persistently, returning your attention to the ground, even while the figure is talking. You're using awareness not to attack, but to expand the container.
Okay, give us some concrete anchors. What does that look like in the moment the judge starts up?
Focus on the physical reality he's making you ignore. Like, what does your body actually feel like right now? Feel the weight, the actual weight of your body on the chair or the bed.
Or wait.
Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Is it cool, warm? Notice the texture of your clothes. Just tiny physical facts. Listen. But listen around his words. What else is there? Traffic outside. A clock ticking. Maybe just the silence between his sentences. That little gap.
Focus on the gap.
Yeah. It's his gentle, persistent returning. Over and over. You're reclaiming the ground. You're expanding the field so much that the judge, who seemed to fill the whole screen, becomes just one small element passing through, a tiny figure in a vast landscape.
So it's not about winning the trial anymore, or proving him wrong, or fixing the flaw. It's about witnessing the voice as just a sound, a structure, a figure passing through.
Yes.
And by doing that, the courtroom itself, that rigid way of seeing everything, it starts to dissolve because we stop buying into its reality.
That's the heart of dissolution. You're not defeating the judge, you're outgrowing him. You're becoming whole again.
And wholeness means letting those frozen gestalts finally melt.
By allowing yourself to feel what got interrupted. By returning to those broken places, feeling what you had to refuse back then just to survive.
We started the saying, you're not the voice, you're the space that holds it, the field.
Exactly. And if we zoom out even further, what is the judge really guarding you against? It's not just failure or criticism, is it?
What then?
Ultimately, he's guarding against aliveness.
Aliveness.
Yeah, unpredictability, spontaneity, wildness, the sheer, raw, unfiltered sensation of existing without a fixed identity, without armor, that feeling some call the unbearable lightness of being.
So he offered a deal. Obey my rules, stay small, and I'll keep you safe from them.
Pretty much. And we signed the contract with our attention, with our belief. But freedom means we can just stop honoring that contract by remembering the field, by choosing presence.
And freedom is in silence. It's not the absence of the judge.
No. Paradoxically, freedom is the radical presence of everything else. And everything else isn't neat and tidy, it's messy, it's spontaneous, it's alive.
So we stop feeding the judge, the rigid structure, but then we have to face that vast, maybe terrifying, unknown ground.
Yes. And that leads to the final thought we want to leave you with. If the judge was protecting you in his own distorted way, from your own aliveness, from the chaos of being truly present, what is it specifically that you might still be afraid to feel? What waits for you in the silence beneath the judgment? Now that the rigid structure is fading, what wants to rise?
Don't try to answer that right away. Just maybe notice the question. Notice any stirring. Remember, you're not the prisoner. You're the sky. And the sky doesn't argue with the storm. It holds it. And it lets it pass.